What is going on, guys? We are back. Sports Moves, C Moody, as always, here with
D Moody.
There we go. And we got some stuff to catch up on. We got PGA championships, MLB standings, NFL preseason's on the way, and we're on the road to Summerslam. We're Sports Moves, 2 Moodys,
1 duty.
Sports. LEGGO. What is going on, guys? We are back once again. It's C Moody here with my brother
D Moody,
and we are Sports Moves, 2 Moodys,
1 duty.
Sports. Guys, we are trying to do better. We have missed maybe a couple weeks in between, but I think it's better than the month or so that we've been, I guess. I don't know what you say when you haven't been where you're supposed to be. What is it?
I guess.
Out of place or
out of
whatever.
Place, not in place, not where you're supposed to be, incognito.
But if there's anybody that still decides to listen to us, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because we are still living like basic regular lives. We're not getting any kind of funding for doing this, so we still have to work, and work gets first priority right now.
Yeah, it's a little hectic.
So
we're going to get better at it.
Definitely.
We are here and getting close to I was just telling C Moody, time has really flew by. Getting close to that 1 year anniversary of Sports Moves.
There we go. 1 year.
Yeah, we started last August around this time. And I think the official day was like August 23rd.
I would have to check YouTube.
We'll double check it to get confirmed that date, but I know it's getting around that time, and we're getting around that time where it's getting back to the NFL, and sports is about to pick back up. We're going to have MLB still going on, NFL, college football is right around the corner. So NBA's not too far away as well. So it's getting ready to get back on the back half of the year where it gets busy. But over the years, it's been a lot of good things. We did some really good things over the first year. We learned a lot about ourselves and our sports commentary. Last year I had a lot of fun doing the NFL Guru, the picks for every week. I took the regular season, C Moody took the postseason. So we'll get that started back up again just as soon as the NFL season starts. Anxious to see how that's going to look. We got some preseason underway tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But I'm going to turn it back over to C Moody, because he's going to lead us into our first couple of segments of tonight's show.
Definitely. Also, I'm not sure, but as we started this off, I noticed that the light was a go for iHeartRadio. So if there's any followers, which I think a lot of our followers came from iHeartRadio, if you're seeing this pop up on your notifications, if you actually have us as a notification, or listening to us now, we had to take a break because we actually had to earn our way back into iHeartRadio. So if we are officially in there, we're back, and we plan to stay. So I definitely, once again, just appreciate everybody, and we got some stuff to catch up on. The first thing I want to get into real quick is we're going to talk about MLB. We're just going to dive into the standings real quick. For the American League side, at the top right now are the Boston Red Sox at 86-36. Right below them are the New York Yankees at 75-46, and below them are the Houston Astros at 74-47. I'm just doing the top three of the American League, and for the National League, at the top, I cannot. Why don't I have them at the top?
I don't know, C Moody.
I don't know either.
Trying to figure out.
I had my National League branched off into the divisions, and I didn't have them set. So for the National League, the number 1 seed is the Chicago Cubs at 69-50. Behind them are the Atlanta Braves at 68-51. I know my cousin in Atlanta is super excited about that. And number 3 are the Milwaukee Brewers at 68-55. Also, something I just happened to catch this in the morning, and I'm gonna just talk about this real quick. It was a baseball game that there was a highlight on, and I'm trying to load it back up as I speak. The Marlins pitcher, Jose Urena, I just found out was suspended because the first pitch of the game was a 90-something mile per hour fastball and hit one of the star players on the Atlanta Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr., in the elbow, which led to both teams pouring out, of course, on the floor. They just felt as though first pitch of the game, it's pretty much targeting that you don't have enough accuracy to, so
usually that first pitch you're trying to, you're gonna try to get that in the zone.
Right.
You aiming at someone's elbow, you're way outside of where you would be.
Yeah, it was just, that was unfortunate. I hope they didn't. When I first saw it pop up on TV, it said that so far it didn't look that bad. I don't have anything more for that, but like I said, Acuna Jr. their rookie, was doing actually really good. He was homered in the 5 straight games.
Okay.
So he was doing actually
hot streak.
Right. He was actually on a hot streak. So it could have been, like I said, targeting to take him out of that zone. But that's really all I wanted to dive into at MLB. I know they're nearing. Oh, I got one more thing from D. Moody, but I know they're nearing the playoffs.
To hit on the home run leaders.
Oh yeah.
So far, we're getting really down close to the stretch run of the season. So as C. Moody was calling out the standings, there teams are kind of fighting for position for the playoffs. So you got a little over a month left in the season to determine who's going to try to, compete for the World Series title. Right now, home run leaders right now is J.D. Martinez from the Boston Red Sox. Has 37 homers on the season. Right behind him is Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Indians with 36. Then we have Chris Davis from Oakland with 34 homers. Matt Carpenter from the Cardinals with 33. And Joey Gallo with 31 from the Texas Rangers. And Bryce Harper from the Washington Nationals with 30. So we have a lot of guys, not a lot of space separating for the home run lead. And especially with Bryce Harper, a lot of people in the speculation that next year he'll be a free agent. A lot of people feel like he'll sign with the Cubs next year, or is he going to stay with the Nationals? He's pretty much been with them his entire career. So we'll have to see how that goes toward the end of the season. But right now, the current leader, as it stands, is J.D. Martinez from the Red Sox with 37 home runs on the season.
Awesome. And if anybody's watching some MLB tonight, or isn't, and they're just catching up on the scores, so far we have at the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs. David Freese is on the mound for the Pirates as they are down to the Cubs 1-0. They're trying to stay into the game. The next game going into the bottom of the 7th is the Washington Nationals against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Nationals are winning 5-4. Also, the Braves are up 3-2 against the Colorado Rockies at the bottom of the 8th. And I'll add this one in. There is a couple more games. You have the Phillies against the Mets in the top of the 7th. They're up 8-3. The Rangers against the Angels. The Angels are up 6-3 in the middle of the 6th. The Twins are beating the Tigers 8-6 in the top of the 5th inning. The Royals and the Blue Jays games have been delayed, and the 2 games that are over with, the Yankees lost to the Tampa Bay Rays 3-1, and the New York Mets destroyed the Philadelphia Phillies 24-4.
Is that about a typo?
24-4 with a 10-run inning. A 10-run performance in the 5th inning.
Phew.
So, yeah, they are...
How do you win by 20 in baseball? I'm not saying it's not possible, but, these are professional athletes. You would think that, especially in baseball,
right?
It probably was just a overall just terrible performance by the Phillies. Sounds like when you give up that many runs, there was some pitching issues tonight to say the least, for the Phillies. So
also on the, I guess to kind of attribute to the New York Mets side, though, Jose Bautista hit a grand slam and has a career high 7 RBIs.
Wow, yeah.
So definitely, and that. If there's anything else left.
I'm good with baseball there. So
that wraps up MLB. Next, we're going to dive into. We just passed the PGA tournament.
Yeah.
And we saw actually a returning and striving Tiger Woods actually do really good towards the inning stretch.
It felt so good to see that from him. We've been waiting for that for a while from him. I know he's been through his own personal struggles with injuries and everything else, probably over the past 5-6 years, but it was finally good to see Tiger in contention in a major on a Sunday. You get to see that fist pump, the crowd's going wild, they're like cheering behind him, everybody's on the edge of their seats, thinking he's going to pull it off, but he did finish in second place. Brooks, how would you say that name again? I mean, you mentioned how to pronounce it. Koepka. I'm afraid of that name. It looks so easy to say, but it looks very deceitful.
I gotcha.
So he finished out 16 under par to win his first ever PGA championship. This was the 100th playing of the PGA Championship.
Wow.
So he won the 100th PGA Championship by 2 shots over Tiger Woods. Actually, this is he's won 3 of the last 6 PGA majors. So he won the 2017 U.S. Open, 2018 U.S. Open last month, and then this month won the PGA Championship. Now, some key news on the PGA Championship. Normally, it's played in August every year, but going into next year's golf schedule, it'll be played in May. So typically, they're changing that up because typically you have the Masters in April, and then you don't have the U.S. Open until you have the British Open, then you have the U.S. Open and the PGA Championship.
Right.
So you got like June, July, August, and the PGA Championship is typically always the last major of the year for golf, but they're going to move it up to May, so you'll have 4 consecutive months of majors. So you'll have the Masters in April, the PGA in May, the British in June, and then the U.S. Open will be the last major of the year going into the new golf schedule. But again, congratulations to Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
And on another major win for him. Give him some congratulations on that. And that's got to be kind of fierce to be playing with the lead. Anytime you go into a major with the lead on the last day, but then to have a player the caliber of Tiger Woods and his experience coming, storming back from behind, And I saw some of the interviews they had with him. They were asking him, well, did you hear a lot of the roars from where Tiger was, doing his thing out there? And he said he just couldn't allow himself to get wrapped up in there. He just had to kind of focus on the way he was playing to try to secure another championship, and he did. So congratulations again to Brooks Koepka.
Also in the PGA, they are currently going into the Wyndham Championship. It actually started today on the 16th. It's going to range from the 16th through the 19th in Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina. Right now, at the top of the leaderboard for round 1 today is American Brant Snedeker.
I know, I've heard of that name a couple of times.
With 11 under par. Right behind him is also American Ryan Moore at 7 under par, tied with John Oda, both 7 under par. The purse for this championship is $6 million.
That's a lot of money. Lots and lots of money.
Definitely.
So again, congratulations to Brooks Koepka. So pretty much that was the last major of the golf schedule for 2018. I just hope that Tiger can get this momentum and keep building on it going forward. I would love to see him win another major. If I had to choose one, I would want him to win any of them just to say, hey, he's back.
Right.
But I would want him to win the Masters. I would want him to win that, get another green jacket. That would be his first major that he won in such a long time.
Go off in the sunset with it.
Yep. So that's it for PGA. What we have for that. What are you going to dive into next, Mr.
I think from there, I think you had some college football that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I did.
Like I said, we're in the football season. I know we got NFL. We're going to talk about preseason, but we might as well hit the college beforehand.
Yeah. So preseason top 10. The college football season will kick back off again on August the 25th. So we're almost less than a week or so away from that, and I'm going to work my way from 10 up. So at number 10, starting off the season, you'll have the West Virginia Mountaineers. Number 9 will be Ohio State, even though they have a lot of scandal going on right now around their program, and Urban Meyer placed on a paid leave of absence due to what type of a scandal was it? It's more of I think it's something to do with I'm not really sure. I was about to say, I forgot wind of some of it. I really didn't dive into it.
I don't know the substance of it, but as far as his involvement of it, it's almost kind of reminiscent of the Joe Paterno kind of feeling like, because he's that head person there, he should know what's going on. So the fact on whether or not they felt as though Joe Paterno knew it and kind of brushed it under himself, thinking that they'll take care of it, puts that even more on his head for not being a leader.
So it seems like he is under fire for the handling of a domestic abuse claims.
Yeah.
So I think it stretched all the way back during his tenure when he was with the Florida Gators, back during those times. And right now his services will not be there. And also the University of Maryland has their own scandal going on
I was just about to
as well that. Too. So it's a lot that's going on around those two programs right now in college football. So we'll dive into those a little bit later, but we're going to keep moving up along the top 10. We got Auburn Tigers will be the number 8 team going into the new season. Number 7 is Penn State, who had a strong start last year to the season. Now Saquon Barkley went as a number 2 overall pick to the New York Giants, looking like he's going to have a bright future going, starting his career in the NFL. So I'm anxious to see how. I don't even know if there's a way you can replace a production of Saquon Barkley. He's kind of like one of those once-in-a-lifetime players. But we'll see how Penn State holds up this season in the Big Ten. Number 6, the Georgia Bulldogs, last year's runner-ups for the national championship, came really close to winning their first national championship in a very long time. Battled Bama to the end. Who could forget the Rose Bowl victory they had over Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield and that historic game there. But Georgia will be the number 6 seed. They were the SEC champions from last year. So Kirby Smart looking to start another season with the Bulldogs as their head coach. Number 5 will be Oklahoma. Speaking of Baker Mayfield, they will be without his services this year because he went as the number 1 overall draft pick to the Cleveland Browns. He had a pretty good showing in his first preseason game last week against the Giants. Threw a couple touchdowns in that game as well. Made some really good throws. So anxious to see how his production is going to look for Cleveland. But for right now, Oklahoma represent the Big 12 at number 5. Number 4 will be your Washington Huskies from the Pac-12 in the top 5 this year. They had a really great start to the season last year. It was undefeated for quite some time, and then they hit a roadblock mid-season, and they kind of fizzled out of the top tier teams for the college football playoff. But they did go to the college football playoff year prior to last year. Number 3 would be the Wisconsin Badgers, who went 13-1 last year. Their only loss of the season came in the Big Ten championship game to the Ohio State Buckeyes. A lot of people felt that Wisconsin played a weak schedule last year, but they were undefeated for the better part of the season. And a lot of people felt they would have won the Big Ten championship last year. They would have been in the college football playoff, but due to the weak schedule, the committee didn't really give them the nod to go. And number 2, the defending national champions, Big Bad Bama. At number 2, who could forget that, again, as we talked about earlier, the national championship game from last year with Georgia, Tua I always say his name incorrect, but Tua. I'm just gonna say Tua comes in relief of Jalen Hurts, and he pretty much led the Bama to yet another national championship with Nick Saban. Tua came in at halftime of that game and really turned the tide for the Tide. No pun intended on that, but. Now it's going to be more of a little bit of a quarterback controversy right now between Jalen Hurts and Tua to see who's going to be the starter at the beginning of the season right now. For me, I think Tua has more pure arm strength. He's very elusive in the pocket. I think he makes really good decisions with the football, especially under pressure. For Jalen Hurts, to me, he's just more of a run-first quarterback for me. I don't think he can single-handedly destroy you with his arm. He's very athletic and can do a lot of great things just from an athleticism standpoint. Right. But I think I would, if it were me, I just can't see Bama doing a 2-quarterback system. Not ruling out that can't happen.
Right.
But I would go, if it were me, I would roll with Tua. He put us in that position last year. And he's only going to get better. I think he has a tremendous upside for Bama. And the number one team that's going to be starting off 2018 season will be the Clemson Tigers, who lost to Bama last year in the Sugar Bowl in the college football playoff. So anxious to see what Dabo Swinney and the Tigers what they're going to look like this year. They really, over the past 3 years, they have really been one of those perennial powers in the not only in the ACC but in the entire college football landscape, and he's really got a good program that he continues to build on every year. There made 2 national championship appearances, won back in 2016. So anxious to see what the Tigers are going to look like going into their new season. They will kick off their season versus Furman at Death Valley in week 1 of the season. So that's your preseason top 10. That's how things look going into the college football season. Again, that will kick off on August the 25th for college football.
Going back some, I just felt like I want to dive into something more.
Okay.
Well, dive into it, something more. The situation with the University of Maryland. I just wanted to backtrack because I'm just hearing about it, recently. Mm-hmm. But going back to looking at the event since they've hired that head coach DJ Durkin, it finds out that he's actually had got rid of one of their strong strength and conditioning coach in Maryland shortly after he was hired, and then leading up into May is when Jordan McNair was hospitalized. And me personally, I didn't know the timeline because I just saw it just a few days ago. Mm-hmm. And so it's signs of heat stroke and just having not outrageous, but an elevated temperature, coming into the hospital. And then he he died shortly after, June 13th. So it looks like about a couple weeks after. And then now it's just they finally, on August 11th, decided to put him on administrative leave pending this review. That's what's going on. And that's disheartening, just the fact that, somebody had to lose their life playing a sport. Mm-hmm. And do that. It's a possibility that it really could have just been negligence on a coach to just want people to struggle. And when I saw the situation on TV, they were showing the family, and it was just like, the director of it, showed his his empathy, I guess, and was like, we're going to take care of you, we're going to really do everything we can. But it was like, why does it have to be now after somebody passed for them to put your effort into it? Like, how come nobody was monitoring these circumstances before? And I mean, and it could have just been, I hate to say something like this, could have been just like a one-off, like freak accident, just somebody but due to the circumstances that allowed to it, it's hard to just put that off as a one-off accident. It just looks more on the lines of negligence. And so for the sake of the family, prayers are with them just for having to deal with something as sad as for a 19-year-old son to, lose his life playing a sport, so.
Yeah. I think sometimes we get so wound up in the spirit of competition and, trying to win or trying to, especially in college football, it's one of the more passionate sports that's out there. A lot of times I favor more college football over the NFL just due to the passion of it.
Yeah.
And then, but you have to keep in mind these families entrust, these big-time universities, whether it's a big-time or small-time, whatever university. I mean, at the end of the day, the care is entrusted for at the end of the day, these are still kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're football players. They're trying to establish a future for themselves through education and also being a chance at being a professional athlete at their craft. And when you have not only, I wouldn't say caretakers, but when you have, coaches and trainers and people in those positions to ensure that not only that these players have a great experience, being a part of their football program, but it's not always about the program. It's about teaching these young people how to be men and monitoring things that they do. And not only the things that they do, but also, just encouraging them to be better men, but also from a physical standpoint of it, when you have something of that seriousness that takes place, we need to take more time to step back. And sometimes what we feel is, hey, it's not a big deal. It's a part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game. Things happen. We get that. But at the end of the day, we still need to treat every situation according to, the severity of it. And I think, like you said, it was more of a negligent type of a thing where it wasn't enough attention to detail, enough attention to the situation. And now we have a young man who's no longer with us because of that. And it's very sad to see that type of report, because 19 years old, your life is just beginning at that point.
Yeah.
And now that, I wouldn't know how to feel if that was my son or, my brother or whoever he would be to me for that to even happen that way. And that you leave your life in the hands of someone else and they don't react fast enough or pay enough attention or feel it's important enough to,
prevent
it from happening. So it's a very sad situation, unfortunately. But other than that, the other scandal, I was just kind of reading over some stuff as C. Moody was talking and listening to him at the same time with Urban Meyer. So, as we know, Urban Meyer was placed on paid administrative leave for this scandal that's going on around domestic violence. And, the school announced it is investigating Courtney Smith's claims that several people close to Coach knew of a 2015 allegation of domestic violence against her ex-husband, former Ohio State assistant football coach Zach Smith, who was fired in July. And it said a decade ago that was not the case. A decade ago, Urban Meyer built a championship program at Florida. Basically, they won the 2006 and 2008 national championship. Remember those years of Tim Tebow, burnishing his reputation as one of the greatest coaches in the game despite his bringing in and keeping troubled players. Nobody really cared all that much. Florida football was rolling, and through the arrest reports kept growing, not one administrator came down on Meyer or the way he handled his players. So it just shows that in his 6-year tenure at Florida, 31 players were arrested, with at least 10 accused of crimes ranging from misdemeanor battery to felony domestic assault to felony theft to domestic battery. Punishment varied depending on the player, but let's just say it was uneven at its best. And then, in perhaps the best example that illustrates that is the star running back Chris Rainey was suspended only 4 games in 2010 after he was charged with aggravated stalking for an allegedly texting his girlfriend time to die, BITCH.
Wow.
And then the graduate assistant coach, Zach Smith, was arrested in 2009 for allegedly shoving his pregnant wife against the wall. Meyer explained last week at the Big Ten Media Day that he and his wife Shelley got involved to help Smith and his wife through counseling. Meyer went on to deny knowing that Smith was investigated for domestic violence in 2015. Courtney Smith, Zach's now ex-wife, said Wednesday that she told Shelley about both instances in 2009 and 2015. That's just that article was kind of provided by ESPN. Andrea Adelson, she wrote this back on August 3rd. Just kind of reading over it. But this whole situation now, I mean, Urban Meyer, to me, he is one of your top tier coaches in college football right now, with 3 national championships. But it's always some type of a scandal or something that follows him wherever he goes. He's been successful everywhere he's been. He's won everywhere he's been, but he's always had shadows lurking behind him in situations like these. And when you talk about domestic violence and stuff, it's more like you were kind of referring to the paternal thing. You have knowledge of it, but there's more you could have done to prevent it or to hold the person that's on your staff more accountable to that. And you have to, whether it's your players or whether it's your staff members, there's a line you have to draw. And I wouldn't want a person like that who puts his hands on women to be a part of my coaching staff. Yeah. Even though that has nothing to do with him doing the job of coaching on my staff, but just from a perspective of a man and just being a human being, you have to have some type of moral high ground when it comes to that.
Definitely. And I think that stuff on the outside helps you be how you can act inside. I feel like what you do on the outside should play just as much of a role because, while to some it's a job, but you're still an influence into some kids' life by how you present yourself and how you instruct and lead these people. So it's not only just how you decide to clock in and clock out, but it's how you decide to live your life, and that should be just as impactful on
whatever you are, you're a representation of that when you're not even at that job.
Exactly.
So I mean it's an unfortunate situation now. It's a big scandal looming over one of the more successful college football programs in Ohio State, but right now Urban has been on a paid leave of absence, so there's no return in sight for him, so an investigation is still looming. Okay. All right. Any other thing else on college football that you have? Any other thing you want to dive into?
I think before we go to break, I'm going to just dive into a little of NFL preseason football we got going on. Week 2 is underway as we speak. Tonight, what's going on? I know D. Moody's excited. He said this before we started, and that's the top of the headlines on my phone, is the Patriots going to start the fourth quarter are all but dominating the Philadelphia Eagles, up 34-20. Right, it's a couple months a little short, but hey, yeah, man. Tom Brady has played the entire first half, throwing 172 yards and 2 touchdowns.
It's gonna be weird to see how the Pats look this year. I know we signed Eric Decker. We have Edelman suspended for the first 4 games for PED use. And he appealed it, didn't win the appeal.
Right.
We've cut a number of receivers from the team. So it's going to be a new look Patriots. But as we know, Tom Brady and the consistency he's had over his career, receivers have never really been. He really hasn't had to have premier receivers to put up big numbers.
I'll give him that.
Yeah. I'm just anxious to see how it all is going to work. Obviously, Gronk is back and committed back to. I know going into the season, a lot of people didn't know if he was going to retire or take a career in WWE or be a
next year
or whatever.
That's next year.
So glad to see that Gronk is back. Just hopefully he can stay healthy. But I mean, it is preseason. You can't put a lot of stock into it. So we'll see how it goes.
Gronk didn't go back because they don't have a storyline set up for him yet. So that's why it is. So, other games going on tonight. Also, a couple of minutes into the fourth quarter, the Redskins are beating the Jets 12-3. And the Green Bay Packers, with 9.5 minutes left in the third quarter, are doing the part 2 of dominating for tonight as they are beating up the Pittsburgh Steelers 48-22. 48.
Trying to break the scoreboard, it sounds like.
I don't know what these guys got going on. As far as the passing on the Packers side, you got 3 different quarterbacks that's played. Aaron Rodgers, 2 for 4 for 1 touchdown. Brett Hundley throwing for 77 yards, and Deshaun Kaiser throwing for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's some good depth at the quarterback position. I did not know Deshaun Kaiser was
I didn't know either.
Green Bay. I know we remember Brett Hundley because last year when the collarbone situation with Aaron Rodgers, so he had to,
he tried to hold his own.
Yeah, tried to hold his own there. But I did know that I saw something last week where Aaron Rodgers kind of ripped some of his teammates for their efforts in practice.
So I saw that too.
He's kind of in mid-season form right now. So I think it's a lot of pressure because we're coming up close to almost a decade since he's won a Super Bowl. So a lot of people arguably say that he's the best quarterback in the league when it comes to pure arm strength and just what he can do with his athleticism at that position. So, he only has 1 Super Bowl to show for it. So maybe that could be something more. He see that his window of opportunity could be closing, and he just wants everyone to compete at a high level.
Definitely. Some games going on tomorrow for the preseason football. We have the Falcons against the Chiefs, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The Lions, Matthew Stafford. Then the Detroit Lions and the New York Giants with the new rookie and Saquon Barkley, who I think his first carry in the NFL was like for 20 or 26 yards.
Preseason, yeah, he broke a long
nice stride. So they also play tomorrow at 7. The Miami Dolphins play the Carolina Panthers at 7:30. The Buffalo Bills take on the Browns at 7:30, and the Cardinals take on the Saints at 8. And that's for tomorrow's preseason, week 2.
Okay. And then also, too, just want to, before we get off the NFL, Josh Norman made some really good comments earlier this week about Sam Darnold.
Really?
The quarterback of the Jets, and a lot of people feel he's got a bright future with the Jets. Obviously it's still preseason. It's still a lot of growing pains that a lot of these rookies going to have to go through. Your Josh Allens, your Sam Darnolds, your Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley's, just to name a few. But to have someone like Josh Norman, one of your, I would still say he's a top premier defender in the league, get to come out and speak out like that about a quarterback, is pretty good. I also saw where there was a fight that broke out between the Texans and the 49ers in their joint practice. With DeAndre Hopkins. And I forgot who it was he got into a tussle with, but they kind of showed it. It lasted for about 30 seconds as the teams were trying to separate everything. So I don't know. I like the idea of the joint practice. You get to actually scrimmage and go up against another team instead of scrimmaging or practicing against yourself. But sometimes those practices get a little heated sometimes, and testosterone starts to kick in, and we got to prove ourselves. So, but my thing, I never understood in football fights, like, dude, you got a helmet on, you got pads on, ain't really much.
Just swinging too. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, that's your money maker. Your hands, your legs. You punching somebody's face mask ain't gonna really help you. It can really lead to more harm than good, but for yourself anyway. But yeah, that's NFL preseason. We're not that far away from the kickoff of the regular season. Super Bowl 53 this year is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, as the season gets closer, we'll get to our preseason our preseason picks of who we think will be playing in that big game, and then we'll start up the guru, the week by week guru again, and see if I can hold it down for second straight year in terms of picking the most correct games over Moodys. So he got off to a strong start last year. I do want you guys to know that, and I scratch and claw my way back until I won.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We'll see how it goes this year.
But if that's it, I think that's
all I have on the
NFL
and other sports. Also, one quick thing, before we hit the break. Also with tennis, with the last major of the year with tennis, the U.S. Open will start up August 27th through September the 9th in Flushing Meadows, New York. Arthur Ashe Stadium, the venue most known for the U.S. Open. So right now they're still playing some warm-up tournaments leading to that, the U.S. Open Series. So, but the last major of the year, a lot of people are waiting to see what Serena Williams is going to accomplish. A lot of people say she will be the favorite for the U.S. Open. She did make it to the Wimbledon final, where she lost to Angelique Kerber in the final. Just really getting her footing back in the tennis world after maternity leave. And then we did see Djokovic win the Wimbledon championship a few weeks ago. So anxious to see how Federer and Nadal and the rest of the men's draw will look like, as well as for the women for the U.S. Open August 27th through September the 9th.
There you go. There you have it. After we come back from break, we are going to dive into WWE as we are on the road to SummerSlam.
And then one more thing, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Before we do that, I know we're so unorganized tonight. I apologize for us. We're a little rusty. I also forgot to throw in there for those of you just a little touch of NBA. If you didn't know, Carmelo Anthony to the Houston Rockets.
How could I forget that?
I want to know your thoughts on that. I'm just real quick. I know we got to hit the break really fast here, but he started off with the Hawks when he left OKC, and now obviously he's been dealt again. This time to the Rockets.
Well, from what I could take from the Hawks situation, that he went there and both parties knew he was going to be waived from them. Mm-hmm. So it was just like a setup stage for where he was going next. Now with the Rockets, I mean, you have some nice components, but
I'm not.
From what
from
what I heard, that they're going to put Carmelo on the bench, and this is somebody who doesn't want to play off the bench.
Yeah,
and who refuses to play off the bench. Who in his careers never came off the bench. So I mean, you're into your latter part of your year. Is it time for you to take a veteran's approach and just say I'm gonna be a guide to the team and not try to say I need to show the spotlight, or you claim you back up what your history you feel as though is allotted you that have that spot to say that, you know, I'm a starter and you're not going to take that, you're not going to diminish it from me, even though you're on a team that has MVP James Harden and you have a veteran and a future Holloway. I mean, if Chris Paul didn't get hurt, they're in the finals. I'm sorry. Golden State's my team, but they're definitely in the finals. Chris Paul didn't get hurt. So, I mean, in a nice world, this actually fits a lot better than OKC.
Yeah, he didn't mesh well to me with them.
And it was almost like him and Paul George was fighting for the same position, even though both of them was on the floor.
And my thing with Melo, to me, he's a liability defensively to me.
Oh, definitely.
And he's not as the offensive juggernaut he used to be in his earlier years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he can contribute, 10 or 12 points, But other than that, I really feel like the chemistry that Houston has right now with Ariza and Paul and
I think Ariza's gone.
Ariza's gone now?
I think. Don't quote me.
Okay, I'm not sure, but we can look into that. But the mainstays at least Harden.
Right. Yeah, you still got a main core.
You can't come in, trying to demand some stuff. I mean, this is a championship caliber team that already was the 1 seed last year in the West. Like we said, 1 game away from the finals. So, I mean, they're pretty good without you. They were pretty good without you. So, my thing is you need to come in and try to mesh well. and not try to cause any issues due to what you feel. A lot of times I think it's this, and it's to me more of the Brett Favre mechanism. I know this is NFL versus NBA, but toward the latter years of Brett Favre's career, he had put up some good numbers, but then when it kind of got down to it, he even said, like, sometimes your mind feels that you can still do the things you used to do, but your body won't allow you to. And I think that's kind of the same thing with Carmelo Anthony. Oh, wow. You're not that player anymore. You're not that player when you were with the Nuggets and when you were, first coming into the league and stuff. So now you have to learn how to know your role.
And shut your mouth?
Well, I mean, know your role. Right now, you're more of a role player. You're not going to be the guy. You're not going to be the number one scorer, especially not on a team with James Harden.
Right.
That ain't happening.
That is.
I mean, you could be a good accommodation, but you're not going to be. The limelight is not going to be on you.
Right.
So to speak.
Right.
But
I'm glad you added that in there.
Yeah, I just want to throw. I almost forgot about it. I'm glad I remembered it, But that's we've pretty much covered everything in other sports from MLB. We talked about the standings, home run leaders. We got into the top 10 preseason of college football. We talked a little bit about a scandal around the University of Maryland and Ohio State. We got into the U.S. Open schedule. For tennis, we talked about PGA Championship. Again, congratulations to Brooks Koepka for winning his third major of his career. And a nice, strong showing from Tiger Woods. So that's pretty much what we hit in other sports. Now we're getting ready to take a break. Mm-hmm. Around the other side of this break, we'll be getting ready to talk about the road to Summerslam coming up from New York in Barclays Center this Sunday. So for C. Moody, D. Moody, this is Sports Moods, 2 Moodys.
1 Duty.
Sports. We'll be right back.
Ooh. And I know this is really off kilter, but I feel like it should go into a break this way. And it's unfortunate that I'm trying to put it in this way. But I want to do a quick moment of silence. If anybody heard the news, Aretha Franklin passed away today. I think she was
76 years old.
76. That was like a big icon in music. I mean, whatever genre you might remember her from. I mean, she has been definitely a key staple for music for some time. So we're just going to have a moment of silence before we go to break. And we'll be right back getting into WWE. This is Sports Moves. And guys, we are back. Once again, it is C. Moody here with
D. Moody.
And we are Sports Moods. Like we said earlier, we have covered everything, starting it off with MLB baseball, diving into I think we went straight into some PGA. Then we got into college football. Then we got into NFL's preseason, both preseason action going on. Then we talked a little bit about some NBA as well as some tennis. And now we're going to end this show because we are on the road to WWE SummerSlam. And now that it is a dual branded show again, there's both Raw and SmackDown. So we're going to talk about what's been going on as we give our predictions on the card for this Sunday's pay-per-view. But before we do, we want to have one more moment of silence, unfortunately, to just pay our respects to Jim the Anvil Neidhart. D. Moody, did you have anything about his age?
He passed away at the age of 63. If a lot of you remember him being a part of the Hart Foundation. He is also the father of WWE women's superstar Natalya.
Yeah.
So our hearts go out to Natalya and losing her father this week. And the Hart family is already one of the most historic families in wrestling. In wrestling. So it's just a tough way to lose yet another. I remember when they were, you had him, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, the British Bulldog, who were part of the Hart Foundation, and now the only one left standing of that group is Bret Hart. So, we lost the Bulldog in the early 2000s. We lost Owen due to that accident coming down from the rafters, and now that Jim the Anvil Neidhart is no longer with us, we're going to pay our respects to him and his family and his daughter Natalya with a moment of silence.
All right, so what we're going to do as we try to backtrack, because we have missed some weeks of Raw and SmackDown, we're just kind of going to incorporate the storyline of each of these matches that have been set up on this card for Sunday. Starting off, I don't know the order. I'm just going by from what I kind of have in front of me and what I remember is a part of the card. Starting off with the kickoff show that will start this Sunday at 5 p.m. One of the matches that should be in there is the mixed tag match of Rusev and Lana versus Andre Cien Almas and his manager Alexa Vega. D. Moody, who do you believe is going to win between this mixed match challenge? As far as the past couple of weeks, from what I can remember, I don't know how it started, but the matches have been kind of putting Rusev Day, the team, of course, adding Aiden English to that couple by his mishap of being somehow incorporated, trying to save the match, but ending up on the downside of causing the match in many occasions.
So that's what makes it tricky. I was able to take in a WWE live show this past Sunday in Florence, South Carolina, and I actually got to see this match, a little preview of that match.
Okay.
With Andre Cien Almas and Zelina Vega versus Rusev Day and Lana. The thing I like about Andre Cien Almas and Zelina Vega, they are very cocky. They have this little swagger about them.
I love how they do the running into the ropes and it's like just automatically just lay in the ropes. Oh, I love that.
And then she comes up underneath him and she's just like, yeah. So, just for the sake of that, I think somehow Aiden English is going to have something else to do with this again. Now, the thing with Rusev Day, I mean, how do you go from being, in a WWE Championship match to this match of this caliber? I mean, maybe that was just something that, remember we saw Shane McMahon said a couple months ago when people kept chanting Rusev Day. He's like, duly noted. Maybe that was just a little teeny push they gave him.
Trash.
But I just feel like Aiden English is going to find some type of way to intervene.
Of course.
And I think it's going to cost them the match. And I think that Cien Almas and Miss Zelina Vega get the victory.
It doesn't help either one. Like, I don't feel...
They ain't going to do anything for you. Like, you're right.
But with that being said, I must take that back. If I saw anybody getting a push, Fortunately, I see it would be Andrade and Cien Almas before Rusev right now. Rusev pretty much has been stuck at the mid-card, somewhat jobber, somewhat, I guess, cult favorite, because as much as I felt like they were trying to just push him as a jobber, the Rusev Day caught on stronger than WWE could have realized. And so now they're trying to do their best to keep the interest of the crowd and not put him above where they want to put him. So I feel like he's going to somewhat still just mellow out in this mid-card area. So I unfortunately, I'm going with Andrade Cien Almas and Alexa Vega too.
I thought he would, I thought Cien Almas would have got a push because they had him fight AJ Styles on a SmackDown Live episode a couple weeks back. And I thought he might have been the potential opponent for AJ at SummerSlam, but then I thought they were leading to that. And they maybe were going to let him upset AJ some kind of way, and that would have gave him a right to say, hey, I deserve a title shot. Because he was really good in NXT. Yeah. Him and Johnny Gargano had some incredible matches down in NXT. And he was a really good NXT champion to me. But I think eventually he could be something of the future to get a push.
I think they just took a step back. They might have felt like they were going too fast, kind of like how they did with Ronda. They kind of threw her up in there, but they had to find a way to throw her back down because they didn't want to give it to her too early. Mm-hmm. And not saying I don't know how confident they are as in pushing him further, but I feel like if he does win this Sunday, it'll be a next step situation for him. So maybe he actually starts getting into any realm of title contention. So
could be.
So with that being said, well, after that, I think there's another tag match, and this one's actually for the Raw SmackDown Championship, and it is the B Team versus the Revival. And this is a weird storyline for me. It's a team that for over a year we've only known as just to be in the entourage of The Miz, known as the Miztourage. And once The Miz got drafted to SmackDown, leaving them at Raw, it kind of threw them in the loop of trying to find who they are and them trying to like ramble to other teams to be a part of it. And then somehow they just say that they're their own team, the B Team, and then immediately got to the top. Like,
and like, to be honest with you, ever since and I was even tired of seeing that for a while, when it was, the Shield, Ambrose and Rollins fighting the Bar for the tag team titles. Since then, the tag division in Raw is just...
How dare you say
it's just...
You're tired.
It's just a non-existent thing. We saw it so much. Yeah. I mean, they put on a good show. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I got tired of seeing that. And then now it's just like, it's non-existent. There's no substance to the Raw tag team division right now.
Very true.
I mean, you had Wyatt and Hardy together, and it's like, okay, we're giving the tag titles for what? Just to lose them to the B Team. And the way the B Team wins, it's like, it's flukish wins. It's just like, you just like, and everybody and the commentators try to sell you on the shock factor of it. I'm just like, no, this is not interesting to me at all. Like, Michael Cole, shut up. Like, oh my God, the B Team just beat Bray Wyatt and Matt Hart. I'm like,
and you know what? As odd as this is, and I feel like it's just kind of thrown together. I hate to say it, try to make it sound cute, but I think it's kind of it's cute because it's really not. I'm not excited, but it's like, oh, good for them when they're like they win and they have this over the top celebration for every little win leading up to their championship.
Because they know they're not supposed to win. They know they're not.
That's what made it. It was like, okay. It made it a little funny to me.
I wish I would have more liked to see. I mean, at this point, I know authors of pain are just getting in the mix of things,
right?
But put them in there.
Please
them
do.
Revival. Throw them in there.
I hope that's what's next.
Throw them with Hardy and Wyatt. Like, give me something with more substance. Now, I don't have anything against the B Team. Don't get me wrong, but right. I feel they should have went with the Miz to SmackDown.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that should have been like a stable type of a transition.
No,
I mean, the Miz can stand alone by himself. Because maybe that was getting stale at one point, but I'm just not
I don't know.
into the B team.
No, not granted. Now, as much as I don't like the story, I do like this team now. Like, I never would have thought I would want to see this team, but like I said, because of their little antics, their quirky celebrations for everything, and I think they were, I don't know if they're still undefeated technically or not, but I like this. Like,
I do. Now, I will say the only thing I like about it is the little segments they have with Roman in the back. It's like every time they get a big win, Roman is always around. And he's just looking at them like,
it's like you can be a part of the B team. And it's, oh my gosh, I really like their promos. Their promos are hilarious. I think
now,
really
the ones when they were doing with Bray and Matt, I was laughing at.
Yeah, and so
it got stale after like week 3. I was like, come on now,
right. But I like the last get back the Hardy and Bray Wyatt had when they were fighting in the tag match against the Revival, and they did the whole blackout scene. And when they came back, they were the person trying to tag in on both sides. That was super creative. I love that. But what I wanted to say as far as like with Matt and Bray Wyatt, what it seems like, as far as who I follow, I like to watch to get some kind of updates on YouTube, Wrestle Talk TV, that Matt Hardy might be nearing the end of his road. And actually, if you follow him on Instagram, which I do, he kind of have been ominously just kind of giving, like, almost making this a farewell tour. Like, he's been saying, I appreciate people along the way. He even gave congratulations to Bray Wyatt and was like, I'll miss you. That was, I think, his last Instagram post. But apparently, and I think he made a post about it as well, as saying that his back, his spinal, some part of his back and lower body, the bones or whatever, is starting to fuse together because of like just so many times of doing like those his infamous leg drops and whatever. So I guess he's been dealing with a lot of physical complications. So maybe this is really him accepting that he has to come to an end. Now, when it seems like it might be now, just because like they've already given up the title, they've allowed him to kind of continue this feud to kind of, I guess, put it to bed, and because now if the Revival wins it, they have no feud with Bray Wyatt, Matt, nor the B team. They can start fresh and they can really kind of take your minds off of all of their sides. So it would make sense.
Speaking of Matt Hardy,
okay.
I actually had an opportunity to meet Matt Hardy a few weeks ago at work at Best Buy.
Yep, he was here.
He came through our store location.
And they changed my work schedule, so
and then Mr. C. Moody wasn't there that day. He missed the whole opportunity to meet Matt, but I was able to take a picture with him.
Can't stand my.
I will upload it on our Twitter page. But he's actually a cool guy.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He was very interactive with a lot of people. A lot of people noticed who he was. He's from Cameron, North Carolina, so he came through our store location during tax-free weekend. South Carolina is probably one of the only, I think, pretty much the only state now that does tax-free.
Really?
So he was there partaking in that. And
makes sense.
He was very interactive. Took a lot of pictures with a lot of customers in the store, and a lot of our co-workers are kind of going up to him, and he wasn't like one of those snobby, like,
I don't do pictures,
celebrity wrestlers where he took the time to talk with people and took pictures and whatnot. Some people were looking around like, why is people walking up to this guy? Like, a lot of people's like, who is that, for those who were really not into wrestling. But it's like one of those things when you know a wrestler. Like, I wasn't even around when it happened. I was somewhere else in the store, and they were like, a lot of people at work know that I'm a huge wrestling fan. They was like, hey Derek, you need to come back here to the computer section. I think a wrestler, Matt Hardy or somebody's back there. And I was like, Matt Hardy?
Stop playing.
So I fly back there, and he's back there in the flesh and, shopping and whatnot. And I was able to take a picture of him. My son was really excited to see that. So
I know he was.
That's the picture there, Stephen. I don't know if you ever got to see it or not. But yeah, it was pretty cool, though. I will post it to our Twitter page. But he's very nice to meet in person. Very cool guy. Hate to see that, if that is what you were telling us, the fact that Matt may be leaving the WWE. But I've always remember growing up watching the Hardy Boys, Team Extreme, TLC matches, ladder matches, whatever the case was. They've always been a part of my wrestling experience growing up watching it. So
definitely
excited about that. A chance I had to meet him. And then, as I said, I took in a WWE live show Sunday in Florence, South Carolina. And on that, just because you said you missed Matt Hardy, we both missed Shinsuke Nakamura coming into Best Buy on that Sunday before the show, incognito. But I hate the fact that I wasn't there for that. I scheduled that day off to not only spend time with my son, but to take him to the show. But now I kind of wished I would have worked.
Right,
an opportunity to try to
add that bonus picture right there.
Yeah, but pretty cool though.
Yeah, definitely. So on this match, how we went all the way around for this championship, the championship match, tag team, B Team versus the Revival. Who do you have? I already said the Revival.
I want the Revival to win because I feel like since they've come up from NXT, they just have been filler. I mean, I think all the way back to Raw 25. How they let DX just beat them up. They've been just jobbers to like Roman Reigns and was it
Bobby
Lashley. So it's just been, and even when Roman Reigns and John Cena was feuding, they tagged up a little bit and went against them. So they've been kind of the jobbers of that division, and the way they were built up in NXT, I think it's time to give them a chance. But I would really wanted them to beat a meaningful team to win the tag team titles. But I would like to see the Revival win.
Okay. The last match I think that is going to be for the kickoff show is the Cruiserweight Championship between Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar.
I'm going to go with Cedric Alexander. Just because of his athleticism. Not Noam Dar.
Drew Gulak.
Yeah, I was about to say
that doesn't look like it. Yeah, Drew Gulak.
But I'm still, either way, if it was Noam Dar, I'm still going to go with
either way.
Cedric Alexander. I like him as the Cruiserweight champion. The Cruiserweight division to me is just, I really don't invest a lot of time in it. I did when Neville was around, but since then, I haven't really been into it as often. And you really don't see it on Raw anymore either. After the whole Enzo thing went down, it's kind of... I think Triple H has controlling interest right now over 205 Live, so he's kind of got his hands on that too. But I'm just gonna go with Alexander to win that.
Okay, I agree. I don't feel like they're gonna give it back to a heel right now, like you said, because of the whole Enzo Amore thing. They're kind of trying to allow somebody that they feel can keep their minds off of it, and if people remember during Enzo's last little run, Drew Gulak was like his top person, his understudy, I guess you would say, whatever, henchman, however you want to put it. So leaving it with Cedric Alexander, which the last match I saw was against Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali as far as the Cruiserweight division. And that was an awesome match. That was actually the WrestleMania championship match that they had a tournament once Enzo had to relinquish his championship, and it was the battle against Heart and Soul. Yeah, that was a good match. So
it's hard to believe now that Enzo and Cass are both out of the WWE.
And now. Cass, how about that? Yep, that's true. Both of them are gone.
Had so much momentum and energy coming into it. Now, just a few short years later, they are no longer in the WWE, so that's pretty amazing to believe.
Yeah, to say the least. Getting into the actual SummerSlam card, I think probably the first ones that's going to come across is, again, Finn Balor versus Constable Baron Corbin.
I'm over that.
Now, it was
match 7 times.
I was about to say, now, the last pay-per-view was a good one, kind of a decent one. Some of their actual weekly matches kind of have, to me, played just as good, if not a little bit better than the last pay-per-view one. But yeah, I'm exhausted with it. I'm exhausted with it now. What is it going to
do for either person if they were to win?
It's just either shut Baron Corbin up about trying to bully him, because really this is just a bullying situation. Like, Baron's I'm bigger than you. You're so little. You shouldn't be able to beat somebody as big as me. And this is the little guy. Funny. It's almost, honestly, loosely think about it, because it's not. I know it's not totally like a parallel, but it's almost like they're trying to rebuild Finn Balor like they did Daniel Bryan. Because Daniel Bryan's last push was them be like, you're the little guy.
You're the underdog.
Yeah, we should. And then it's an authority who's telling him he's little. So, even though Constable Baron Corbin isn't that elite of an authority for this to, be like I said, to be parallel with it, but it kind of seems similar. And hopefully, with that being said, this is the only reason it gives me interest, that maybe this will start to push Finn Balor up some. So
it could, because go ahead.
It just led me into a storyline that this is fantasy booking, I guess you would say, but I'm gonna go into that to explain it later once we get into some of the next cards, to show how all this would tie in together to make this the parallel to Daniel Bryan overcoming the authority. I see this in a Finn Balor situation and how this could work.
Okay, I'm anxious to see how you're going to tie this together.
All right.
But my thing is with Balor and Corbin, I'm really not really... It doesn't really matter to me who wins. I guess I'll go with Balor just for the sake of Balor.
I'm going with Balor.
But I just don't like the way the creative team have pretty much utilized Finn Balor. To me, this is a guy, we know the story. He lets us know every other week. I was the first Universal Champion, and it's like, I don't know if Vince doesn't truly believe in this guy. It looks like before he got hurt, they had plans to do things with him, and I wish they could have kind of revisited those plans. But I guess the way the Universal title, after he had to step away due to injury, and you have a person that's just hijacked the title for over a year, so there's really no opening to really utilize the talent that you have. So it kind of sucks to me for Finn Balor.
Yeah, definitely. So I think both of us agree we're going with Finn Balor in this match against Constable Baron Corbin. Next one we'll go into is probably, I'm gonna say, the United States Championship match, Shinsuke Nakamura against Jeff Hardy, which the storyline has really been Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. That it really, it's almost like an afterthought to be like, oh yeah, he's fighting Shinsuke for a championship. Because now I'm really more invested to see when it's finally going to culminate between Jeff and Randy Orton having a good match, having a pay-per-view real matchup. And I don't really care. As good as this match should be between a veteran and then, like I said, strong style, one of the greatest players overseas, and Shinsuke, they built it up barely because they took too much time trying to tie in Randy Orton into it.
Yeah, and that's what threw me off with the whole Randy Orton thing. And then even when they first initially... Because this whole rivalry started from a Twitter beef or something like that, between the social media beef with Nakamura. Because remember, after Nakamura lost to AJ for that last time, and then they just kind of thrusted him into something with Jeff Hardy. And so it wasn't even like Nakamura accepted like a U.S. Open challenge or anything like that. They just made a match because of a social media thing. And then I think Shinsuke got bit by a security dog or something like that. And then they had to take a couple weeks off from that. So even the build for the match they had at Extreme Rules really wasn't a build because of Shinsuke was off TV for a couple of weeks.
Came back last week.
Yeah, and then just cut a little promo in the back, and then that was it. And then the match at Extreme Rules was over before you knew it.
Yep.
And then Randy comes out, and it's just like, why is he attacking Jeff Hardy? And then the next night, Jeff Hardy, a couple of nights after, Jeff Hardy comes out, and he's like talking about how he wants to get, Shinsuke win his title back and all of this. Never even mentions Randy Orton's name. Fights Shinsuke again. Orton comes out again and attacks him. It just doesn't make any sense what they're doing with this to me.
If Jeff Hardy is staying, I feel like they're using Randy Orton for Jeff Hardy to finally become Brother Nero. And the only reason I say that is like the second time Randy Orton attacked him, he did the whole thing about washing the paint off. Mm-hmm. And all the time, you just kept hearing Michael Cole in the background saying, he's taking his identity from him. He's washing his identity. Like, they just kept using that term identity. And you can see that Jeff Hardy kind of starts to do little impulses of that other character.
Yeah, because at the live show I was at, he was doing it. And it was funny. There was like a little segment between him and Nakamura when they were fighting. Nakamura started doing the delete thing, like trying to poke fun at Jeff Hardy. So then when Jeff Hardy got the better of Nakamura, he did the Nakamura
come on
thing like that. And he's doing like the little things like the mannerisms that Nakamura does.
It's reminding me of that. And I didn't get to watch the whole match. I saw the highlights. R-Truth is hilarious.
He is.
Because they did that. That was the week that he was like, he's going to get the Shinsuke and do what everybody else does and pin Carmella. That started it off. And then he did the same thing, the come on thing. And him with his little jumping and doing the splits and stuff. Love R-Truth. And it's just, oh my God.
And even Jeff Hardy even got to a point where he did the good vibrations.
Really?
In the corner of Nakamura, where he has his Nakamura in the corner, he does the little shake thing. He did that to Nakamura too. It was funny how they were kind of stealing each other's thunder a little bit.
Okay.
In the little live match that we had. But I mean, for me, if I had to pick a winner, I think Shinsuke. I don't think they put the title on him right now just to take it off. I think Shinsuke will find a way to maneuver his way through the win. Maybe. Orton's going to play a role in this match. I don't know what role, but I still think he's going to interfere in some kind of way, shape, or form.
I didn't even add Randy into this equation, but like I said, they're really building up to the Randy Orton feud more than this, so I don't think Randy Orton even has to interfere, but I feel like they already kind of have a storyline set for Jeff Hardy to fight Randy Orton, so they really don't need to have to put a title on Jeff Hardy. They can go ahead and let Shinsuke start another feud for a championship. And then this, like
probably got Hell in a Cell coming up, so that's probably when they may have to try to culminate this rivalry. So we'll see how that goes. But I got Shinsuke retaining.
Yeah, I had Shinsuke retaining as well. The next, I'm going to go ahead and get to one of the women's championship matches. We have, matter of fact, did Sasha Banks and Bayley fight somebody this week? I don't think they do.
I don't think they do. I mean, I saw them fight. Well, Sasha Banks this past Monday night fought not Liv Morgan.
If anything, like I said,
Ruby Riott. I'm sorry.
I think it's a tag against the Riott Squad, but I think that'll be at the kickoff if they do fight. But this championship match, I'm gonna do the SmackDown's Women's Championship, which is a triple threat match between Carmella, the champion, Becky Lynch, and recently added Charlotte Flair. Now Becky Lynch finally got on a winning streak after like almost well over a year of just being in the background. And while she's finally in the heat of almost getting to her title match, Charlotte Flair comes out of nowhere and inputs herself in there by pinning Carmella. And even though that they seem to be good friends, Becky Lynch definitely doesn't want Charlotte Flair to be a part of it and wish she could just take her off as her own. So maybe that's going to culminate into one of them turning heel, which, I mean, Charlotte's kind of in the middle between baby and heel anyway.
Considered a heel. I actually feel Becky's going to win.
I do too.
Keep in mind, she was the first SmackDown Live Women's Champion.
Yep.
She hadn't done much since then. Her and Charlotte are good friends. I love the way they're kind of spinning it to where Carmella's trying to cause friction between them because she knows they're good friends. And she's like, you feel like you can't win now that Charlotte's in the match. And I'm the only person to beat Charlotte twice and, what have you. But I think Becky comes out of this some type of way with the victory.
I think so too. That was what I had picked for it. So, next match, I'm trying to see which one. I'm trying to go by what I think would be the timeline of how this would go. I'm going to get into the Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens with the briefcase on the line. If Braun Strowman loses in any capacity, whether it be count out, disqualification, or otherwise, Kevin Owens then wins the briefcase and becomes Mr. Money in the Bank. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pitch my prediction, because this is going to culminate into what I was talking about earlier. If you noticed in the past weeks, Baron Corbin and KO, although Baron Corbin hasn't given KO what he wants, has been at least more friendly with one another than anybody else. And Kevin Owens knows he can kind of pull on Brandon Corbin as being that authority figure to get what he wants. So, the fact that Braun Strowman can lose almost any way, and if long as Kevin Owens can outrun Braun Strowman for 10 seconds, he wins the briefcase. I'm going with Kevin Owens winning. And if by him winning, he takes that and he interferes, and this is a WrestleMania rematch at the end, and he wins the championship at SummerSlam. Now, by me saying that, somehow that's going to even make the bond between him and Baron Corbin tighter. And notice that this last Monday, Baron Corbin used Kevin Owens because he idealized to put him in a handicap match against Finn Balor. And so he uses that kind of momentum to carry on to Kevin Owens now having the title, along with Baron Corbin picking on the little man, which reenacts the whole Triple H and Batista against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. So now we have the parallel, the very far off, but still the same parallel of Finn Balor being the little guy against the authority figure if Kevin Owens teams up with Constable Baron Corbin after this pay-per-view.
I guess I can kind of see that.
So that's why I have KO winning.
Coming that way with that, but I can kind of somewhat see that, but I think Strowman's going to hold on to it.
Think Strowman's going to win
I think he's going to hold on to it. He'll find a way to persevere through it.
Okay.
Because I think he may... Never mind.
Ooh. Yeah. All right, Paul Heyman, you can't just do that at the end of your interview.
I think he may have an outcome.
Think he's going to win it?
In this Brock Roman match.
Honestly, I feel like either way, I don't think Roman's going to win.
And they would hate again for somebody to cash in on Roman.
Yep. So
or it could be one of those things that when Roman wins and he's so, out of it. And oh my God, Braun Strowman's cashing.
Right.
Michael Cole's been practicing that all week.
Oh yeah.
Call. So yeah.
So pretty much both of us feel like whoever wins this match is cashing in on Sunday night.
Could be.
I agree. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is the first one we're at ends with. You got Braun Strowman winning it, and I'm going with Kevin Owens for my random fantasy booking. So next match I'm gonna go into is the Intercontinental Championship match between Dolph Ziggler, which is going to be accompanied by Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins, who's going to be accompanied by the returning and bigger than what he was last year, Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, when he walked out Monday night, I was like, got a new haircut. He looks buffer.
Right. I was like, Dean.
Okay, he looks more like a
fresh out of jail.
He looks more like a heel to me.
A heel, you say?
Yeah.
I mean, Seth was the first architectural heel.
You're right. And so, when Seth came back from his injury, he was kind of more face.
True.
And now Dean went away from injury. When he left, he was face.
So you think he's coming back as
a heel?
So
I think.
You think he's going to cost Seth the
match?
I
think he is.
Ooh.
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's what we're leading up to when it came to the tag team title things.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought we were going to see Dean turn on him then, but this is even better, more of an opening, a better opening. This because Seth has been battling McIntyre and Ziggler by himself, and he's already admitted, I can't handle both of these guys.
Right.
So he's got Shield Brother in his corner now, but he's probably, the last thing he would think is that Dean would do him that way.
And you know what? I was watching how when they came out and fought, and afterwards, how Seth was kind of just like wanting to kind of celebrate with him. Dean was just all over the place. And it was like he knew he had to do it. Like he did the fist pump, but he did it quick and punched his hand out of it. Like it looked to like just to a regular regular viewer, like he had that much energy. But in my mind, I thought about that the little heelish way, because it was just like he never really said anything. He didn't spend too much time around Seth. He was just like kind of embracing being back. So yeah, I can definitely see it. But I do have Seth winning though. I feel like it's gonna come, but it's not gonna come yet because Dean wants to get this title. So why not beat his brother and take it off
or
of him?
Or maybe help him win it, and after he helps him win it, like raises his hand up.
Then take him out.
And then Dirty Deeds.
Exactly.
Something.
So I would, because then if you take it from him, are we going to continue this Dolph and Drew McIntyre with somebody else? Like, where does that lead them? Right.
And then probably you're going to have, most time when the champion loses, you get a rematch clause.
Exactly.
So
it'll hold off that, so.
It'll be. We'll see. So I think something's going to transpire in this match, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. All right. So who do you have? You say you got Dolph retaining.
I got
Dolph retaining.
Dolph gonna retain it.
All right. So I got Seth, and you have Dolph. All right. So with our next match, let's go into the SmackDown, or I guess you would just say the WWE Championship match between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. And this match somehow turned into a family issue where Samoa Joe decided to start bringing his personal life into it, saying that his wife sent him a letter saying that AJ is more of a champion than a family person because he cares more about the title than his wife and kids, and he hopes that Joe wins so that he can come back home and actually do his part or whatever. Some way they want Joe to win because of AJ's neglect towards his actual family.
I just think back to Samoa Joe when he was feuding with Brock Lesnar and the promos he was cutting back during those times. This is kind of beneath him to me.
I feel like
they try to take the family, the personal route, and I know him and AJ have history together back in TNA and all that, but to me, I feel like this feud is out of place. Because it's really been no true build to this feud.
It hasn't.
And I just felt like I liked the way Samoa came into it. Like, cause I don't think Paige was going to announce that it was going to be Samoa Joe.
Right.
That AJ was going to fight at SummerSlam. Joe just kind of imposed himself on a situation, snuck up behind AJ, put the coquina on him, and then signed his name on there. Anyway, then once it's signed, you can't say it's null and void because it's a signature on the contract.
Right.
So that's who you have to fight now. He kind of hijacked the championship match, which we all knew eventually AJ and Samoa was going to come to this, but there's really been no true build for me. Okay. I'm not invested in this. It's just like something to do for right now. We just got to have a big caliber match. Let's put two big name people in a match and we'll just make stuff up as we go.
Okay.
AJ's getting real passionate about it. You know, talking about his family and stuff. It's kind of showing more of a humanistic side of AJ. But to me, it's not sticking for me.
Well, for me, I feel like, going back to what you said first off, when you were like, this isn't the same Joe from the Brock Lesnar one. I feel like I loved his promos against Brock Lesnar, but I feel like he had to because he had to come off to show that he was going to be just as intense. This one
is always known as intensity.
But this one I like because now he's playing mind games. It's like he's cerebral assassin in it, not trying to be the aggressor up in your face, because if that's the case with AJ Styles, it'll just become a strength versus speed match.
True.
And so even though it still is, him playing the mind games takes AJ's eyes off of it mentally. So I like it because it seems like he's, like I said, cerebral assassinate, new age, Triple H on him.
I guess I can kind of playing the mind games. I get it. There's not really been a lot of physical, encounters with them either. It's just talking.
Right. I feel like Joe's going to do something like have his wife like at ringside.
Could be a distraction or something.
And it's just going to be, it's going to cost them. But I, even though I say that, I still have AJ winning.
AJ's going to retain it.
Yeah.
I don't know eventually who AJ will drop the title to, but I don't think it'll be Joe. I think they missed that boat with an opportunity to give Joe a chance to win the Universal when he was feuding with Brock during that time. But I don't see AJ dropping the title to Joe. I'm very surprised that John Cena's not on the card anywhere either. But
next,
I don't know who eventually AJ will fight in the future that's going to take the title from him.
It's going to be John Cena.
It could be Andrade.
John Cena's going to get his 17.
I mean, I don't know if Cena's going to cash the 17. I mean, I don't know. Like, for now, in the moment, I think AJ will beat Samoa.
Okay, respect that.
I just thought by the time we got this rivalry, there would have been more substance. It would have been more intense,
right?
Because I would have liked to see Joe bring more intensity out of AJ.
Right, I agree.
To push AJ to the brink.
Because even with that last promo, AJ didn't seem to change.
Do kind of like they used to do. Remember the whole Triple H Randy Orton thing?
Yeah.
If you're gonna bring his family into it, get involved with the family.
Right.
Like show up at the house.
Yeah, now that was dope. When they fought at the house.
DDP did with the Undertaker when WCW was first coming in, and he was kind of being around Sarah, and that kind of pushed the Undertaker to a whole nother level, type of a thing to bring more intensity out. AJ just seems. It just ain't really. It don't seem. It ain't. I can't explain it. It's just not doing anything for me. I'm sorry.
I mean, maybe, like I said, if Samoa did something to involve his wife and that costs him the match, that be what breaks AJ to be intense. So it could be just the beginning of a feud by him losing it. But yeah, I definitely I think both of us agreed on him retaining this title.
Okay.
So next, I'm going to get to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Bludgeon Brothers against the New Day. They just started having a tag team tournament, really, that just led to it. And there was some good matches, one of my favorites. I didn't get to see all of them, but the best one for me that I saw was the Usos versus the Bar, honestly. Mm-hmm. I just feel like the Usos and the New Day have taken over what the tag team division is meant to be.
They need to send at least one of those groups to Raw. I think the Usos need to go to Raw now.
They should. Mm-hmm. They should. And give them the title. They should be able to go straight for the title. Mm-hmm. But I have the New Day winning. I don't know how. I just feel like the Bludgeon Brothers kind of have nothing. Like, even though they have it, it's just like they're a threat, but they don't do anything with it. They just...
I think Bludgeons retain.
You think so?
I think they retain. And I think eventually we're going to see a feud with them in Sanity.
Okay.
Because both of their groups are
they're like kind of insane, kind of aggressive.
You're going to see. I see them pretty much virtually in a Hell in a Cell match.
Okay.
Tag titles.
That'd probably be an intense match to watch.
Yeah. So I think they're going to save that for that.
Okay. The next match we have is finally 8 years of feuding come to a head. Finally. The Miz versus Daniel Bryan. Now,
it's obvious who we know is going to win this match, right?
I don't know. We might.
I'm going Daniel Bryan. They're going to give Daniel Bryan a breakthrough with this because this has been a thing, like you say, in the making. And all those times when Bryan,
he deserves to win,
and the Miz is pushing his envelope, knowing that Daniel couldn't fight. I thought they were going to jump right into it,
right?
Because once he was cleared, I
thought that was the first thing.
I thought that was the first thing they were going to go into, but they kind of didn't. But
no, here's why. Oh, go ahead.
Something just came to my mind. I said a question a while back about I don't know who will take the title off AJ.
Daniel Bryan.
It just clicked in my head.
Okay.
I think they're going to put Daniel Bryan over the Miz. Because I think this Joe feud is just something short term.
Right.
And then
to get over this feud.
That
people
and I
been
think
wanting.
eventually they're going to lead to Bryan and AJ going at it. And maybe Bryan can win. Or maybe somehow the Miz gets involved in it. Or keeps costing Daniel Bryan the opportunity to win the championship or something. But I think eventually Daniel Bryan's going to get into the championship picture to try to win the WWE title. I think he beats The Miz, though.
Here's why I say The Miz. Because I don't feel this is not going by storyline. This is going by internal observation. I don't feel like Daniel Bryan's going to stay with the company much longer. I feel like Daniel Bryan, because before he got medically cleared, he made a lot of public kind of emotion saying that, you know, he's willing to go somewhere else as long as he can. His dream was to wrestle, and if WWE wasn't going to allow him to, even though he went around the world and got clearance, he will go somewhere else. And I feel like they finally did it because they needed that publicity, and Daniel's been probably been nagging long enough, and they finally gave it to him. But I still feel as though Daniel's just doing it to fulfill his contract because he's still on contract. So I feel as though if he's going to leave, he has to lose. Because by him winning, it kills The Miz all over again. Even though The Miz has enough promo skills to rebuild himself back up, but that'll be something to just even piss everybody. I would be pissed if after knowing that Daniel Bryan leaves and The Miz wins, that he goes on and be like, I defeated Daniel Bryan. I am the greatest because I invented everything. And it's just like...
I will say this. Whoever wins this match...
goes on to the top.
They're going to go on to a feud with AJ.
Okay. I agree.
I could potentially see that.
I agree. So you got Daniel Bryan winning. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Daniel Bryan wins. But I think because of, like I said, the internal, observations on resources, I'm going with The Miz winning. Now we have the Raw. This is probably going to be one of the 2-part main event, which is the Raw Women's Championship main event. Alexa Bliss taking on the big bad Ronda Rousey. So yeah,
I think Rousey's gonna win.
I think Rousey's winning.
Eventually they're gonna put it on her. I don't like the way they built her up.
I don't know. I like this feud.
I don't like her skills in the WWE ring.
Really? No, I hated how she handled the security thing that Monday because all she did was arm drag people the entire time, and it's like German suplex somebody. Like, let's see some moveset. That's
the thing. Like, she brings off that aura. Like, I'm gonna destroy. Then she starts.
But she really doesn't.
You see her in action. You're like, oh, that's all you was gonna do.
I mean, granted, now in a match, her moveset is her intensity behind her moveset makes it fun.
I don't like her finisher. What is? Like,
it's like a twisting Samoan drop.
I don't know what that is, but
I like it. It's like a snap.
I think if she's paying homage to Piper, why not put people in the sleeper hold like Piper used to?
I don't think she really is paying homage.
She is, because she said that was one of her greatest inspirations was Roddy Piper.
But I mean, she's a UFC fighter.
I understand she's a fighter.
That's why I feel like that's why she can't have that. And then technically, you got Samoa Joe kind of taking that helm of the sleeper hold.
I ain't saying like do the whole
cocaine.
Yeah, but Piper used to just.
She might do it later, but I mean, but like I said, for her being the UFC, like you saw what they did with Brock Lesnar for that so many times that they made him do that arm bar to pop people's arm out the socket. So now this is Ronda's turn. That now her greatest strength of submissions is doing something that looks like she's going to tear the arm off.
This is going to fight now. She's
going to run and then fight.
But she's going to also get some big moments in this match.
Oh yeah,
where she's going to kind of use her cunningness.
Right, she's definitely going to get over on her a couple times.
But I think eventually Ronda will take it. So I mean, I'm not really jumping for joy at this match. I mean, it's been a nice little build up to it. But I still think it's a little fast for Ronda to move to the championship picture already. But I mean, she's here. It's SummerSlam. It's Barclays Arena. You got to put butts in the seats. So I think this is a good thing as far as just to draw the crowd and for her to win it. But my thing is now, since she'll become the champion, will we see her actively on Raw every week competing in matches? So she had her first Raw match against. What's her name? Last week? Alicia Fox. So, I mean, it just didn't do anything for me. I love Ronda Rousey. I love the aura of Ronda Rousey, but I just want to see a little bit more. I want to see more intensity from her.
I respect that. Now the main event. I almost had to remember what button it was. For the Universal Championship, we have the reigning, defending. I don't like him that much to do all this.
Universal Champion.
I'm gonna do Paul Heyman sad voices. Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Brock kind of been throwing me some curveballs here the last couple of weeks.
I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
You know,
totally
it's
don't.
It's like he's so disinterested. Like
he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Like, I don't care about what the WWE Universe thinks.
You're not my friend, Paul.
He's like, I'd rather be home right now on my couch eating steak and potatoes.
How much money you make off me, Paul? Huh? How much money have you been making off of me?
Go out there, you do your job.
Versus the big dog, Roman Reigns.
And I think of it like we were here at WrestleMania saying the same thing, that okay, they're gonna put it on Roman. Brock's leaving. We were saying this last year this time at SummerSlam.
Yep.
Brock is leaving.
Yeah.
Brock won SummerSlam. The Fatal 4. Everybody was so shocked when he won that match. But I mean, at this point,
it was set for him to win the Fatal 4-Way.
But you know, at this point, I think now it's Roman's time. If not now, when?
If not now, when?
Like, because you can't keep dragging this thing out. I mean, he lost WrestleMania. Okay. Then he sort of won at the Greatest Royal Rumble, but by technicality, he lost. So, I mean, this time I think Roman will win it. It's going to be brutal.
All right.
But I think it's either going to be a Roman win, and as soon as he wins, Strowman's coming. Because they're going to, him and Brock, they're going to beat the hell out of each other. So it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of fatigue after whoever comes out victorious. Sure. And then I think that's when, I hate to say Strowman's going to try to skate his way, but sometimes when you at full strength and you see Strowman coming, ain't nothing you can do about it.
And see, that's why I think that it's Kevin Owens with it, because Kevin Owens will definitely do that. He has no problem picking the bones.
Because he did say he wanted his Universal title back,
and so
he lost the Goldberg. He never got a rematch.
And you know what? And this is why another reason I thought about this. Paul Heyman. Did you ever see the interview with Paul Heyman and Renee Young?
Pieces of it, not all of it.
And so there's a part they finally showed it on Monday Night Raw, but they didn't show it the week that he did it, and you only saw it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. That after he was like, with this Brock Lesnar I've never seen before, and Roman doesn't stand a chance, and he tilts his head back for a second, and he goes,
start.
And then he just gets up and starts leaving. She was like, unless what? Unless he was like, no, just have a good night. He's like, just go ahead. He starts taking off here. And she's like, unless Roman does what, Paul? And he just walks out. And so this gave me two different personas.
Okay.
That in which they kind of played off of it that next week, because Paul Heyman tried to peace treaty it. And that was one of my ideas, is that Paul Heyman finds a way to sign with Roman. Roman goes heel, and now he's a Paul Heyman guy. Secondly, is that he gets Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens becomes a Paul Heyman guy, because then Paul Heyman would have the right time, and you saw how he sprayed Roman Reigns. He does the same thing to Brock Lesnar if he wins, and he's like, you're a champion, sprays him up. Kevin Owens comes down, does whatever to him, has the money in the bank now, he wins it. He's a Paul Heyman guy. Boom, now it's Kevin Owens. And then you can go into that whole situation with Kevin Owens and the Authority. And now you add the extra mouthpiece of Paul Heyman with that. And that's like a real elite authority figure.
Could be. Or Paul may have made a deal with the monster.
Oh, Strowman? I don't think.
You don't think
I
that?
don't think so.
Paul might make a deal with the monster.
I don't think so. I don't think Braun's going heel anytime soon. I don't think Braun's going heel anytime soon.
I don't think whether he heel or face, he's still gonna get. Crowd's still gonna care.
No, because Paul Heyman's he's gonna build up Braun heel enough for him to lose that pop. He's still gonna get a pop because it's a big guy coming, But he's not going to be the get these hands, get these. Like that's gonna go away because Paul's gonna build him up. He's gonna be like, oh, you want him to get these hands? Braun is a monster. Like he's definitely gonna revamp Braun Strowman if he does that. So.
I mean, I can see it, but I think Roman gets it.
I think Roman gets it this week. I think he gets it, and I think
we're going to see cash in. I think going into Monday night, which is going to be in Barclays again, Braun Strowman walking in as Universal Champion.
Okay. All right. I got either Kevin Owens or Roman Reigns.
And it's like, we build Roman up, we stretch him. Roman feels like, I'm here again, and I got it, just like Seth took it from him. I think Strowman going to run through again and get it, and then that's going to lead to another feud between him,
Roman and Strowman
again. They've had some good feuds in the past, but now we got a title at stake.
Right.
So it could be. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
I can see that.
Then again, you never know.
So
because at WrestleMania we all thought that Roman would win, and
we saw it happen.
And that was just like. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Right. It's like, hold on, guys.
No, Roman was supposed to win.
What are y'all doing? We forgot to do something. Y'all forgot to give it to Roman.
But Brock, both AJ and Brock have had the titles for a while.
Yeah.
Brock has had it ever since WrestleMania last year. AJ's had it since I
think they just said something about him. He's the longest
gender at a.
He's the longest SmackDown champion right now.
Mm-hmm.
So both of them can use an alternate.
Yep.
So,
but that's what I feel. I think Roman wins. I think AJ retains. I think Bludgeons will retain. I think Shinsuke retains. I think I got everybody retaining. I got Dolph retaining.
Yeah, you got everybody retaining.
Yeah, it seems like except for B Team, I had B Team losing.
Yeah, I got some changes. I got some changes coming.
Everybody ain't gonna retain, so it's gonna be some.
Somebody got to lose it. And the only people I think are
I got Roman winning, so yeah.
Yeah, I was saying only people I got confident that are retaining are going to be AJ and Shinsuke. Mm-hmm. Everybody else I feel is going to change in one way or another.
Well, I guess we'll see.
And Carmella might weasel her way out now because now you got a building rivalry between Charlotte and Becky that can stand its own.
Yeah.
So,
well, we got SummerSlam Sunday night at the WWE Network.
That's right.
It's free to all subscribers, so go ahead and sign up. The first 30 days are free. So if you want to catch SummerSlam for the free, go ahead and get that WWE Network, and you will be able to see it.
And after the first month, I don't know if you saw it when they talked about it every week. It is only $9.99.
Yep, for only $9.99. So yeah, that's SummerSlam. It's usually the next biggest pay-per-view after WrestleMania. Then after this will be Survivor Series in November. They'll start building up toward that.
And Battle Royal Rumble.
After Hell in a Cell and No Mercy. So.
Also, for this time, for the first time ever, in October, we're going to have the first ever all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, that's going to be something exciting where all the women's championships are going to be put on the line. And I also think that they're going to finally announce women's tag team championships.
I think so, too.
That's why I think
that's just going to make, as we talked about a couple months ago, that's just going to make things just that much more longer because these cards are as long as it is now.
But honestly, I feel like the way that they can fill these cards, not by making it longer, but by just having more championships.
Or they could give the women's their own brand. Kind of like you do the cruiserweights.
I don't want that.
And they could have their own night where they do their own thing.
I need a healthy mix.
Just mix it up.
But see, my thing is, with you adding more titles, you can alternate. Because you see now, because of no Brock Lesnar, the lack of titles on Raw. But if you have more titles to balance it out, like on SmackDown, when Jinder Mahal was holding it relentlessly, you didn't have to worry about it because the Miz holding the Intercontinental kind of overlooked it. And we don't have anybody right now, even though Dolph Ziggler is starting to do a really good job with the Intercontinental Championship, But you fill it in with the women's tag, or you do what I said for a while now and bring in that 3-man championship that I've been wanting for a while. And you can start overlooking the singles kind of thing, even though you know it's there. But if you fill up that match with championships, and then the next week you can take a seat back on the tag team championships, bring back the Universal Championship, talk about it, bring back the United States. Next week, go back to tag, talk about that women's championship. There's so many ways you can mix it up, and not everyone have to be consistent. If they made it that way everybody can have a break, off day, on day, still be relevant, still have their storyline, and it'll be perfect.
We'll see.
The Shield.
I'm anxious to see what this evolution gonna be like. I'll be honest with you, not knocking the women. I'm glad they're getting a lot of exposure over the last years. We saw the first ever Hell in a Cell match, the first ever Money in the Bank. Now they're doing a lot of the matches that, we only saw the men do.
Yeah.
So now they're getting opportunities to do that. So they get their own pay-per-view now. So I'm anxious to see how that'll go. But to me, it's one of those things I would need to see to get more excitement about it.
Respect that a lot.
You got some good talent in both women's divisions, like Ruby Riott and Ember Moon, and I ain't really big on the Iconics.
I don't see him enough to get invested.
I can't really get invested in them yet.
I forgot about Asuka.
Asuka too. She's kind of taking a seat back.
I forgot about Asuka.
I mean, we'll see how it is. Did get to see her at the WWE live show.
Oh, you did?
She was there. She fought Carmella for the title. She actually had the Asuka lock on Carmella, getting ready to win it, and the Iconics came out and interrupted the match, and then Charlotte and Becky ran down, and it became a 6-woman tag, and
of course
Charlotte and Becky and Asuka won. So, but yeah, I'm excited for SummerSlam to see what it's going to be. I'm really ready to see how this Roman and Brock thing is going to turn out. And I guess if any other match I was looking forward to seeing, maybe see what's going to happen with Hardy and Nakamura.
Yeah.
I mean, not really big on AJ and Joe, but we'll see how it goes.
So, there you go, man. If any parting words you have to say for the audience?
No, I just would say I hope you enjoyed the show tonight, listening to us. You can find us at It's Sports Moods on Instagram, or C Moody Man that. I kind of take care of the Twitter handle at Sports Moods. Mm-hmm. If you want to reach out to us there on those two platforms, you can. Also, iHeartRadio,
YouTube,
Spreaker, YouTube, other outlets you can get podcasts from us.
Which I thought about. I'm actually go ahead and try to set up its own Gmail, so that way we can have a YouTube channel specifically for the podcast.
Okay.
So that way, if you go on YouTube, you can just type in, even though I know you can type it in by the title and find it, but that way you can type in that by its page and you can find it. Yeah. That'll be a good way to start off our second year into Sports Moves by having its own YouTube.
And then I also said, I know a couple months back we said we wanted to do the Facebook page, so eventually we can go ahead and put that in the works as well. So they'll have multiple platforms to connect with us. So we thank you guys for, listening as you always do, and bearing with us. I know we haven't been as consistent as we would like to have been, but with the way the sports in the next few months is going to be, we're going to have to be consistent.
Have to be.
So you're going to have NFL, you're going to have college football, NBA, you're going to have college basketball. We're going to have like 4 or 5 sports going at one time.
Yeah, this is when we need to be there.
Yeah, we definitely want to be more consistent. Typically during the summertime after the NBA Finals, all you really have is, baseball
and
golf and Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all you have. But now, once you hit August and September, you're getting back into the flow of the regular flow of sports.
Football,
it's coming back around.
Football.
And also, too, I do want to apologize in the beginning of the podcast to our Little Leaguers. I'm so sorry. You guys have the Little League World Series going on right now. We should have had a little bit more coverage on that. I'm pretty sure you got to. What about the Little League World Series? That's going on right now too, because we do have some people that's passionate about that as well. So good luck to all our little leaguers out there. From around the world and from the United States, because I know you have other countries that participate in that tournament as well. So hopefully the next big thing in baseball will be coming from
that Little League,
from the Little League World Series. So,
definitely.
Congratulations to those little guys out there and trying to win for their hometowns and home countries. But for me, that's all I have. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Again, thank you for all the support. Getting ready to kick off year 2 here in a couple of days. So we're still learning and growing as podcasters here. And just thank you for all the continued support.
I mean, from me, man, just leaving a parting word, like in a literal sense of the word. If you remember last time I was on the podcast, I kind of, confessed my belief, and a part of my belief is not to impose it against anybody else, but just to publicly display that my confidence in it is why I proclaim it. So not to shove it into somebody's face, but to just say that this is what I believe, just as much as anybody who believed in a sport, you would dedicate yourself to practice in the sport, even amongst anybody who does differently. Mm-hmm. So my parting word just simply is a quote, I guess, from the word, and it just says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." So, and it also kind of rhymed. That's actually pretty poetic, but I guess so. Really good. Yeah, and it actually comes from the book of Proverbs, the 18th chapter, verse 21. If you ever have the chance, it's almost like kind of recommending a book. You ever get a chance to read the Bible, I promise you, you'll realize that what we've been taught isn't necessarily what Scripture has it to be. And I think once you break that threshold of what you believe it to be by what we've been taught, you can start to see it for what it really is. So that's my parting word, man.
All right, until next time, you've been listening to Sports Moods. D Moody here with C Moody, 2 Moodys,
1 Duty.
Sports. Till next time, you guys, enjoy. Be safe out there.
Be safe out there.